these paintings are very unique.
Yes.
Someone might see it as maybe you're drawing some dark stuff or maybe some disturbing content.
Yeah.
How would you respond to that person?
I've met that a lot. I've had people telling me to pray for me. I think I posted it sometime a while back. People pray for me, I'm working for dark forces, and I get that a lot of the time.
Tell me what you think about young people overlooking their talent just for that 9-to-5 job.
It's usually very painful for creative people to exist in creative spaces. I mean, from my observation, that's something I've seen.
Nakumbuka Mr. Mpati.
Yeah.
By the way, he was Allan and I was Brenda.
And Allan.
Guys, and welcome to yet another video. Today I'm in Karen Village, and I'll be hanging out with a long lost friend of mine. He is an artist, and basically I just want to see what his work entails. You know the drill. So my people, show some love, and I feel like let's just dive right into the video. Okay. It's common to hear artists saying that art is not really appreciated in Kenya. So I decided to reach out to my good friend Allan, who's been in this game for quite some time. His art has been harshly criticized, guys, and I just wanted him to come and answer some few questions and clear the air. Let's do this. The last time I told you I was hanging out with an old schoolmate, and today it's the same thing. Me and Allan tumetuana mbali from, I think class 6, 7.
Ndo nasema
back in Buruan.
Ungekuwa unaona magoti zangu.
Hizo my shorts and dresses.
Right until this point, I do not wear shorts. Kujeo trauma ya Buruan.
Are you serious?
I never wear shorts. I never wear shorts.
Nakumbuka Mr. Mpati. By the way, he was Allan and I was Brenda.
And Allan.
Okay, good times.
Good times.
Let me tell you this. I knew Allan because he used to draw to funny stuff, and right now, take a look at him. I am so proud of you, man.
Thanks, Brazil. Always. You do the same thing over and over until you get it right.
Yeah,
so,
that's the point. And so how does it feel to see your dream come true? Because you are a kid back then, and right now you're actually doing it.
Of course, it feels good. But then there's a lot of, let me call it humility that comes from that thing, because it started out as a joke.
Okay.
It was a hobby, something I liked to do. I remember selling those to cartoons, 2020 Bob Nini. So I think it was always in me to just make a career out of this thing. But it's humbling to be able to do something I've always done, do something I've always loved. It's I think it's a life that a lot of people would wish for. Yeah. And I am lucky. Consider myself lucky.
Truly, you are blessed.
Sure.
And you see, in Kenya, so many artists are struggling to get their names out there. So please tell us, how did you get to this particular point? I
would say an easy answer, of course, is consistency. Okay. That's the only thing that I say has helped me. But there's a lot involved because you have to. There's the business side. There's the creative side, which determines what you do and how you do it. But then there's the business side where you have to market yourself. You have to be up there. But most of what helped me was consistency in my style and going out and meeting people. That's it. You have to meet people physically. You have to understand people. You have to know how people think. Okay. Just like any other business, you understand what people want, but also find a middle ground for what you want, because it's creativity. So you have to do what you like to do and find a middle ground with what people want, and you have it. That's what.
I really felt that. Yeah, I felt it. Baby, I hope someone who's watching right now also feels that passion, because you see the way you're talking clearly tells you really love and you enjoy what you do.
Yeah, that's the first thing. You have to love it. Yeah. It's art, so it's a bit tricky talking about money, but I usually say that as long as you enjoy what you do, then I don't think there's a problem with being paid for what you do. You have to keep count.
Yeah, tumeambiwa kweli. And I can feel like you have really unique paintings, yeah? So where do you get your inspiration from?
Yeah, my inspiration is it's not a very easy question to answer, but I think I'm very observant, and that's what informs what I do. I like to look at how people live, how people think, in the context of how things are changing, and things are changing very quickly, especially I think that a lot of my work started maturing. I'm not yet there, but I feel like a huge change appeared after the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, it's a crisis. So that's when you see a lot of people's true nature. People are trying to survive, and so it's almost a very nice, not very nice because it was a bad time, but it was a very clear representation of what would happen in a crisis, and those observations and that inspiration for me at that time was a lot, because as I said, I observe how people work, how people think, how people behave in good times and in bad, and mostly in bad times is when you see the true
someone's nature.
Exactly. And so collectively it was a very bad time for a lot of people, but then people found themselves more grounded to what was more important, and those are the things I like to think about, the important things. I like to go to the bones of everything, and I think that's where my inspiration comes from.
Damn, that was deep. Okay.
Go deep or go home. That's
go deep or go home. I love it. And guys, please, he is here. If you want to ask any questions concerning his work, the comment section is your BFF. So these paintings are very unique.
Yes.
Someone might see it as maybe you're drawing some dark stuff or maybe some disturbing content.
Yeah.
How would you respond to that person?
Well, usually in this line of work, you never have to respond, but for the sake of the video, it's I've met that a lot. I've had people telling me they'll pray for me. I think I posted it sometime a while back. People pray for me, I'm working for dark forces, and I get that a lot of the time.
Okay.
But it's because I'm painting about the parts of society we hold dear. I'm picking at it and really looking at the bones, as I said. And so when you go after the parts that people hold close to them, there's always going to be some form of attack, because my art has been described as polemic. It's been described as controversial or aggressive, abrasive, all sorts of things. But I like to think of it as very sensual. Okay. It's very fleshly. It's very bodily. It in a way gratifies the senses. I like it to have a punch. Okay. I like people to look at my art and say, I don't even know what to think about it. That's what I want.
But clearly it's mind-blowing. I mean, don't you get it? Like, don't you see it for yourself?
That's the point. But it embodies who I am, because I am not afraid to say what I want to say. I say it anyway. So it's that has never been a big problem for me. People having negative opinions about it, because it's art. Everyone is entitled to having whatever opinion they like. The moment I hang a painting or a piece in a gallery or a public space, I've already invited public participation.
Definitely.
And that means anyone is free to think whatever they want, and that's okay. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the arts in here in Kenya? Because I understand that art, hata tukiwa shuleni, art was never really considered like, it was not like one of those essential subjects one had to do. Yeah. So it was like an extra co-curricular activity.
Yeah. Right now things are looking up, because and they've been that way for a while. There's plenty of talent, plenty of guys thinking about ways to push boundaries. There's plenty of spaces to exhibit. Not as many as we'd like, but it's much better than what it was, and it's always been getting better. And now also with the new academic system, the CBC, it's perfect, because now kids can start thinking of alternative careers to the traditional ones, that the big five. Now we can think about other things, because it's in school, that's the first introduction for many children to life. And so if we can have that in schools, then that means the art scene will eventually be much better than it is right now. But right now it's very good. I mean, the fact that I can be able to do this full time is already, I think, testament to that fact. So I think it's a good time. It's a good time to be creative here in the region and in Africa as well. Good time.
It's a good time
Exactly.
to also be alive.
I mean, can't complain.
And let me just pick your brain again.
Yeah.
We have a lot of young people who happen to be talented, but they are dying doing the 9-to-5 jobs, living paycheck to paycheck. So tell me what you think about young people overlooking their talent just for that 9-to-5 job.
9-to-5 job, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think if it's causing you more harm than following your passions, which is the case in many creative careers, you have to be passionate about it, and it's usually very painful for creative people to exist in creative spaces. I mean, from my observation, that's something I've seen. And so if you truly have a desire to make art and be in a creative career, then I think you should take it. Or maybe because circumstances between different people are different, so if you cannot do it, just find time to make art. But it is possible, because I went to school for something completely different. I did hospitality.
Oh wow!
After high school.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I did not even know about that.
Yeah, I did hospitality. The reason you didn't know is because I was quiet about it. Eventually, I got to a point where I thought, this is not what I should be doing. I felt like, so I finished it, but it got to a point it was never something I was really proud to say. Everyone knows me as an artist. That's because I talk about it all the time. So I realized that's not what I was supposed to be doing. So I finished and started making art. And right now I went back to school now to do art as a career. I'm doing a diploma in fine art.
Wow.
Yeah?
It's like you took a leap of faith, in short.
Yes, I did, because here I am with a degree. Something, it's not as important as it was back then, but it's a symbol. It kind of shows some level of stability. You get into a stable job with a paycheck every month. But then I'm deciding to do art, which I have no idea will work out, because starting out was difficult, extremely difficult, because I hadn't found my style. So I was still finding myself, and it's difficult creatively and even financially, because you're making stuff and it's not going anywhere because it's not unique. And people like unique stuff. Everyone likes something that stands out. So that's what I found out very early. You start out, take a leap of faith, because that's what helped me eventually. I decided, this is what I want to do, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to go all in. That's what I decided, and that's what happened.
Take a leap of faith. Yes, I love it. Yes. And again, you see, we have old school parents.
Yes.
And most times we used to hear like our parents saying, I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
So how are your parents like?
I'm lucky also in the sense of having parents that supported the whole thing.
They did?
They did.
Okay.
Especially when I was young. I think I could paint before I could write, because I got paints before I even went to school. Yeah, my mom caught on and said, this guy, huyu akona talent. He looks like this is what he likes to do.
Yeah.
My dad eventually caught on later, like all dads. But I was lucky. But at some point, I changed homes, and so I had a different guardian. And when I chose art of a computer, it was a bit of a problem. But I explained to him and told him, this is what I like to do. This is what I do best, and this is what I'm going to do. So eventually, they see that it can be a career, because,
and here you are.
Because black tax, but
I know.
Yeah. So when they see the black tax coming, they say, okay, this is a job like any other. Yeah, but I was lucky to have that while I was still a child, because that's when everything starts. So when that happened, it almost sealed the deal for me. I was already inside art for sure.
Wow, I always love to hear a good story, like someone narrating how their parents came through for them, how they believed in them, because it all starts with someone believing in you.
It does.
On a regular, what kind of challenges do you go through as an artist?
I could write a book on that one. It can be unstable sometimes, because it's not a paycheck. It's not regular.
It's not regular.
Yeah. You could sell something today, then sell something in 2 months. Of course, it gets better the more established you are in your career, the more well-known you are. But that has been a problem for a very long time, especially when starting out, because you're not sure about what you're going to do the next day, and that's a challenge anyone coming into art has to prepare for. Live the life that you love, always keep moving, and I don't think anything can go wrong if you do what you're supposed to do today, because doing what you're supposed to do today means you don't have to be worried about the future. As long as you meet your responsibilities right now, everything else that's supposed to happen will happen.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's I think that's what I tell you guys at home or wherever.
From Allan Simba himself. Once again, I appreciate you taking the time to just talk to me today.
It's a privilege. It's not taking the time.
I know, lakini bado unajua squeeze kila mtu ako busy doing that thing.
It's true.
But you are really, you came through for me, and thank you so much for taking the time, because time is very expensive these days. Na nime appreciate sana. Thank you so much.
No, thank you too. This it's YouTube, you know what I'm saying? So,